Hello everyone, Dan Cable with Jeet with the Audio More, and today is day 3 of progression to possible challenges, the pull-up. So with all 3 challenges, I just want to re-emphasize this, with all 3 challenges, the impossible push-up, the impossible pull-up, and the impossible squat, they are all based on both the combination of muscular endurance and strength. So we must maximize each one of those. How do we do that? Well, we can do one of 2 ways, or many ways really, but basically we can either do maybe one day of focusing primarily on the muscular endurance, another day, which would be not the next day, but 2 days after, unless you're just starting, if you really want to maximize, you can do multiple days in a row starting out, especially if you're to an intermediate or advanced level, but then you're going to want to taper off a little bit, maybe take 1 full day of rest, and then do every other day, switching up the different muscles you're using, so you're not using the same muscles every single day. Okay. So one of the days, let's say Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because that's the main day that I do more of my upper body training. My upper body work more primarily on my punches, although I do punches and kicks every single day as a martial artist. Okay, so let's say Tuesday, you're going to go ahead and you're going to do muscular endurance mainly. So you're just going to basically do sets of pull-ups. Maybe do the nickels and dimes you're doing, push-ups and pull-ups, push-ups and pull-ups, push-ups and pull-ups, or pull-ups and push-ups, however you want to do it. Okay, and then on Thursday, let's say you're going to do mainly strength. So, put a weighted vest on, do some pull-ups with a weighted vest. Start off obviously thoroughly warming up, but then put on a weighted vest or even a backpack, throw some weight in there, do some pull-ups there, maybe even keep that weight on and do some push-ups to maximize that aspect of it. Okay, that's one way you can do it. And then of course, you're going to go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, okay, switch it back and forth. Or you can also do where you're going to do, say your first set, you're going to do mainly muscular endurance. So let's say I'm just going to pop out, say, 7, 9, 13, wide arm pull-ups, okay, for the first set. And the second set, I'm actually going to add weight and do as many as I can do that way to gain more strength. However you do it, there's such a variety of ways you can do it. And one of the most key component and most important things and key component of things that I do is I'm always confusing my muscles. I've said this before and I'll continue to say it again. I cannot honestly emphasize this enough. Muscle confusion. I have been training for 16 years consistently in my martial arts training, and I never do the exact same training session. Yes, I do some of the same things. I might do a simulation training session of something I did maybe, the last time I did something like that, but I'm always changing it up, okay? And that's confusing the mind and the body, and that is going to get you amazing results. I might be a little guy. I'm not afraid to tell you my stature. I am 5'2" and 7/8", and I weigh about 124 and 126 pounds. I've actually fluctuated between 122 to 126 for the last 16 years of my training, and I'm not afraid to admit that. But you know what? For my size, I can proudly say I'm pretty damn strong for being a little guy, okay? So it's not about how big you are. You maximize that muscle confusion, and you will get results. So let me pause it for a minute, and I'm actually going to give you a quick little scenario, something you can try, just give you a little bit of an idea, because remember, Jeet Kune is about finding your own way as way, but I want to give you an idea about something. One moment. Okay, so once again, there's such a huge variety of things we can do and ways we can do them. So I'm going to explain real quick. You probably won't be able to hear me facing that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a few pull-ups. I'm going to do some wide arm pull-ups, and I'm going to do a few of those. Then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do after that. Just going to maximize. Now you can do this both either muscular endurance and or for your strength by adding some weight. Like I said, I have a weighted vest, but before that I actually would just throw some weights that I have in a backpack. If you don't have any weights, throw some rocks in there, throw something heavy in there, maybe even have somebody hold on to you and try to resist you going up and down. Okay, so here we go. So just watch the transition on what I do. Okay, back here I'll kind of explain a little bit more. Okay, so now as you've seen there, I basically jump from one to the other. I would not recommend necessarily doing that unless you have very good hand-eye coordination and you've been practicing things like that for a while, which I have. But basically what I was doing is I was transitioning from, as you've seen, wide arm pull-ups, then I did single arm, and then I just switched to another grip position. Now obviously you can just drop down, try to take minimal rest and then get back up there and do those. Why? Because wide arm is actually out here. Wide arm is actually going to be working. It does help develop your lats. However, if you really want to work your lats or your latissimus muscles, these ones, I don't have the most V shape, but here we go. Those right there, okay? Then honestly, not too narrow, not too wide, but kind of mid-level is what's going to really work that. But what the wide arm pull-ups do is they actually help provide a structure and help actually stretch out your lat muscles, okay? And then the close grip is going to work more your rhomboids, your teres major and minor, which is actually your upper back muscles, and also it's going to work some of your upper and medial traps. You actually have 3 trap muscles, trapezius. You have the one right here. You have, it's hard to see, but basically you have a middle and a lower, and bent over barbell rows, which I will actually incorporate this week, is going to work your middle and lower very, very well. And I actually love doing bent over barbell rows and immediately, which I will show you this training session, so get excited about this. Barbell rows, bent over barbell rows immediately into pull-ups. Maximize, maximize, maximize. So do these things, and whatever it is, just push past your discomfort. 2 more things today, and one more thing that I want to explain about what I just did. You can do it, like I said, you can add the weight. You can do back and forth, back and forth. You can do one training session, much more endurance. You know the training session is strength. So do these things and embrace the discomfort today. Believe in yourself. Believe you can do it, and believe that you deserve it. Smash punch, kick that like button, just don't break it. Let's gather and do something. Do more than what you did yesterday. Keep your ass up today and grind. What have you done today to push yourself, to grind, to embrace that discomfort? Believe in yourself, because you can do much more than you ever thought possible once you push past this. Let's go, push yourself.